D converted man here. I hate YouTube shorts. Okay, so Mike Winger, whatever. It's got a video short thingy. Ah, I mean, it's just, I hate it. Anyways, so he says there's this divide. Let's listen in, shall we?
This divide that it maybe is best explained by the analogy of eyes being open or closed. When you close your eyes, there's nothing in the room. And
Well, that's not true. There's still stuff in the room. It's just your eyes are closed, so you can't see the stuff that's in the room. So there's still stuff there. You can still verify that stuff in other ways. We have more than one sense. Ah, well.
as long as you keep your eyes closed, I could say to you, prove to me that there's a painting in the room. I'm going to keep my eyes closed.
Um, well, that's not how that works. So there's a painting in the room, and you close your eyes, and you say, "Prove to me there's a painting in the room." Well, what makes you think the painting left the room? I mean, there's every reason to think that it's still there. Do you think that somebody took it? That would be your burden, then, not mine. Like, the painting still, unless somebody, you was like, you listen very closely. Did they move the painting? Did you hear scuffling or sounds of any sort? Now, maybe they're really quiet, you know. Were they near the painting before you closed your eyes? How high up was the painting? How big is it? But it's not, like they could bring it to you and be like, "See it here you go. You can feel it. You can touch it. You can smell it." You know, so there's still things you could do to verify this painting, right? So not only do you not understand how the burden of proof works, you don't understand how senses work. And like, okay, prove to you there's a painting. Well, okay, prove to a blind person that color is a thing. You know, how do you do that? Can you do that? Well, it's a good question. You should think about that, shouldn't you? Because, like, no, really, somebody that's blind from birth, you say, okay, well, what's the color blue? Can you describe the color blue? Yeah, without relying on any other colors or things that you see. It's like, well, it's a blueberry. No, that's another. I was like, well, I know what a blueberry tastes like, or feels like, or smells like, and I'm told it's blue. Everybody could be lying to that person. How would they know? I mean, how do they know everyone else can see for that matter? It's a good question. Too bad you're not going to think about that or answer that sort of thing. Oh well.
It's going to be harder to prove that. Or I open my eyes, in which case I'm not even asking. And this is what often happens, I think, with skeptics. There's so much taken for granted as they begin their study for God. They begin looking for God, right? They look around at the universe. They look around at creation. They look around at their own.
All right. You said creation. That assumes created. So that's an assumption. No, I don't look around at creation because that would assume there's a creation to look at. You're also assuming I look around at anything. Why would I need to do that? You're also assuming I'm looking for God. Why do you think I'm looking for God? I mean, I guess in a way I am. By looking for, like, I don't know, actual evidence of God, which there isn't any of, unlike the painting, which there's plenty of evidence of. So, yeah.
Life. They feel their own soul, their own being.
I don't feel a soul. I'm not sure what it is to feel my being. What's a soul? Do you have evidence of that? Uh,
They see beauty, morality, and goodness, and that's all just there without explanation for them.
yeah, and so what? Even if that's the case, that doesn't mean anything. Like, I don't know how stuff got to be stuff necessarily, and I don't need to have an explanation for anything at all. Not even a little. But if I wanted one, well, where would I go to find it? Would it be your holy book? No. No. Because your holy book is equivalent to all the other holy books. Which means it's not very good. I don't trust it. It's written by people, didn't know what they were talking about, didn't have very good ideas, broadly speaking. It's nothing new, just uninspired, boring, whatever. I don't need it. So I'm going to look some other place for the explanation of any given phenomenon. That's a whole process to go through. But even if I don't have an explanation, that doesn't matter at all, not even a little.
And then they turn to you and say, okay, now prove there's a God. And you're like, you're sort of starting from a place where you have missed all the evidence.
No, I'm not starting from a place where I've missed any evidence because there isn't any evidence. I'm looking for the thing, God, whatever that is. All right. I look around and I don't see the thing. You say, oh, the evidence of God is basically everything. Everything is evidence of God. But I don't see God when I see stuff. That's the difference. So basically, if you stick with your painting analogy, everything's a painting. And I was like, prove there's a painting in the room. The whole room's a painting. You're a painting. The world's a painting. The universe is a painting. Can't prove there's not a painting because it's everywhere. If you close your eyes, you're still looking at the painting because the inside of your eyeballs are a painting. Yeah, yeah. So everywhere you look and don't look is also a painting. So there is no not evidence of painting because all things are painting. So if all thing is God, then well, you don't need the word God anymore because there's already a word for that. It's called everything, like just everything. There you go, everything. But a painting is a painting, okay? And reality is a reality. And there's a big difference between those things. There's a lot of differences between those. Ugh, whatever.
There's this divide that
Wait. Was
maybe is
that
best
it?
explained by the analogy of eyes being open or closed. And when you close
Wait,
your
no.
eyes, there's
I
nothing
don't.
in the room.
No.
And as long as you keep your eyes closed, I could say to you, prove to
No.
me
Stop.
that there's a painting in the room.
Wait.
I'm going to keep my eyes closed. It's going to be harder to prove that. Or I open my
What?
eyes, in which
I
case I'm not
already
even
said that.
asking.
I can't
This is what
fast
often
forward.
happens, I think, with skeptics.
I.
There's so much taken for granted
What?
as they begin their study for God. They begin looking for
Wait.
God, right? They look
No.
around at the
I already
universe. They look
heard
around
all
at
the.
creation. They look around at
No.
their own life. They feel their own
No.
soul, their own being. They
No.
see
Go
beauty,
forward.
morality, and goodness. And that's all
Yeah.
just there without
Yeah.
explanation for
Okay.
them. And then they turn to you and say, okay, now prove there's a God. And you're like, you're sort of starting from a place where you have missed all the evidence. There's this divide that
That's it. That's it. That's the end of the video. That's why I hate YouTube shorts. I thought I'd missed something. No, and then it just repeats endlessly. And then like the comments are weird. You click on that, and they show up in this tiny box. And then I just hate how this whole thing works. Ah. So yeah, still no evidence for God. Oh well.